Hey guys, time for another Trekyards podcast. As always, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Commander Cockings, and we have a guest.
We do.
I am Ray Tesi. I am the executive producer of Starship Republic.
And that just happens to be the topic of today's discussion, Starship Republic. So, I don't know if you guys have checked out Starship Republic on YouTube. There's a little vignette that you can watch, 9 minutes. It's very interesting, very well done. And we're going to talk to Ray today about that and about the project that's coming up. Ray, tell us a little bit about how this got started.
Okay, thanks, Stuart. Thanks, Sam. About a year and a half ago, I saw a Facebook post for something called Promenadicon. And it was a small convention that was open to the general public in Oklahoma City, where the Starbase Studios was housed at the time. And they boasted that they had several sets from the original series. They had a bridge, they had a transporter room, and they had part of a sickbay. And I said, before I die, I have to go see the Bridge of the Enterprise. So
we've all said
that. We've all said that. And I planned a trip with a fellow who's my best friend still since high school. And if you look at me, I'm a long way out of high school. But we're still buddies. We still actually write, and we were writing buddies for the better part of about 40 years. We talk television and movies, and we write, and we come up with ideas, and we find out everything that's wrong with television today and how we could make it better, but nobody cares. So we planned a trip, and in planning a trip, I said, you know what? If they really do have the sets, and the sets look pretty good, maybe we can make a fan film. I was familiar with fan films because of Phase 2 and New Voyages, Star Trek Continues, Renegades. So I was familiar with a lot of fan films, plus a lot of the smaller ones. And I said, geez, why don't we see if we could put something together? And we wrote an outline and put together a treatment in several days. And we went to Starbase Studios, met with a few people that were there, Scott Johnson, who was one of the owners, Vance Major, who was a producer on several fan films that were in production already. We pitched our idea. They liked it. We liked it. And the rest is almost history.
Very good. Very good.
I guess it is saying, we didn't actually say it at the start, this is the new TOS era fan film coming out currently on Indiegogo, trying to raise money to make the full, I suppose, 30-minute piece. And it looks exciting. I will say that, and I should know.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah. Sam should know.
But we'll get into that a little bit more later. First off, as a TOS fan, I really enjoyed it. The filming, the sets, and the costumes and stuff you guys have are fantastic. But one of the first things that stood out to me, and this is kind of a nitpicky TOS thing, and I apologize. Why are they wearing the Enterprise's Delta on their uniform?
What a great question. And
I know originally they were supposed to represent certain sectors. Each ship in that sector had that insignia, but it never translated to the screen.
It never translated to the screen.
Stuart, the first thing you ask him, the second thing you ask him is about a continuity error, Stuart. What are you doing? Or is it?
Or is it? So here's the deal. That is the way that starships were supposed to be represented. There is a memo from 1967. It's from Bob Justman, and it goes to Bill Thies and a whole cast of characters at Paramount at the time, saying, hey, you guys made a mistake. If you do it again, I'm going to kill you. It's actually a very funny memo, but the thrust of the memo is that the Delta is supposed to be representative of the starship. The mistake was made in Charlie X, when the members of a cargo ship come on board and they have a different insignia. And the costumers, Bill Thies and company, thought that meant that everybody was supposed to have a different insignia. And to back me up even further, because I leave no stone unturned, go and watch the episode Court Martial, which is where the Republic is actually mentioned in canon. Thank you very much. And there's a bar scene. Kirk and McCoy walk into a bar. You could fill in the punchline yourself.
I was just going to say.
But if you look at the characters in the background who are all from other starships who are parked at that station, they're all wearing the Delta. So I am trying to stay as true to that as I possibly can. It's not a mistake. The real kicker, here's your Easter egg, Stuart. The kicker is the insignia for the Columbia is the insignia for the Republic if you go by what's been published.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's picked that up. So go figure that. So now the cat's out of the bag.
And I will say from my point of view, I've read it both ways. Obviously, you've got the court martial, then you've got Intimate Darkly with the Defiant. I mean, it's one of those wonderfully odd things where it's canon both ways. You can take it either way, and either way is valid.
Yeah.
Which is a crazy, one of the few things you can do that, but...
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And there's actually an article that references the memo used to be online, and it was actually hosted by James Cawley and the Phase 2 site. But that memo seems to have been taken down. I'm not sure why, but I can't find it. But there is an article published by the 1701 Society, I believe it's called. And Sam, they say exactly that. You can do either one, and either one should be accepted as canon.
Yeah. Now, I guess one of the next questions is, what made you pick the Republic, NCC 1371?
So I went back to my ratty copy of The Making of Star Trek, which lists all 12 starships that were in the fleet at the time. A bunch of them were gone. A bunch of them we'd already seen. We knew they were somewhere around the galaxy. So I started watching some of the episodes, and I came upon Court Martial. And Court Martial references the Republic because the Republic is in that same space station for repair. And it happens to be the ship that Kirk served on as an ensign when he had his incident with Ben Finney and he left the atomic pile open, which led to his court-martial and Finney turning against him. So we'd never seen it on screen. It's referenced in the series. It's referenced in canon. And it's got a Kirk backstory. So the logical choice was, let's use the Republic.
That's a very awesome answer.
But at the same time, it's not a contrived ship. It's not a brand new one. It's not trying to be the Enterprise or even the Miranda or some famous name. You just said, oh, no, it exists in TOS. You've used an existing thing with an existing thing. Just said, it's out there somewhere. Let's use it. That's exactly how you should play those stories, really.
By the way, thank you, but not to pay anybody else any compliment. But if you look at the last episode that was released for Continues, there's a scene with Erin Gray as an admiral, and she's in her office. And it's got the list of all the starships that we know. And the left-hand column says ships still in service. And the bottom ship is the USS Republic.
Nice.
So your fan film canon's still around.
There we go.
Now, you said that the Republic and Court Martial was there for repairs. Was it repairs from what happens in this vignette by chance?
No,
That's
because we are later in the timeline. So if you look at the timeline as not being NBC timeline, where Stardates ended up being all over the galaxy, that was early in season 1. And our story will take place essentially in season 4.
Nice.
Is there any Enterprise linkings? I mean, every other, well, most of the big fan films like having the Enterprise, but you don't see any Enterprises on the Indiegogo page. Is that?
There is no Enterprise on the. I personally think that that's self-serving.
Thank you. I totally agree with that.
Okay.
Every fan film refers to some. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, because I do believe in self-service, I did try to get Vic Mignogna to do a cameo as Kirk on a view screen.
That'd be cool.
But that was just before he knew the guidelines were coming out. And he said, you better just sit and wait and see what goes on. So I said, you know what? If he's not going to do it, I'm not going to have somebody else do it. And there's no reason to have a reference to the Enterprise. So our crew, our ship, our mission, we are self-serving. We are not self-serving, but we are self-independent. Because, hey, look, the Lexington couldn't call the Enterprise every week,
Well, at that point, it's just one of the 12. There's nothing special.
That's
it's
right.
only later that it becomes, the only one to survive. So at this point,
exactly
it's just,
right.
so you can bump into them on the way to other places, but,
Yeah.
And I will say, one thing my dad always says about all these fan films is that he's not tired of all the Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, but they cannot be done any better than the original 3. And while it's fun to try, they'll never replace them. You'll never be able to see them in the exact same way, and you'll always be able to compare them to the legends. So by picking a different ship, a different crew, the ball game is completely open and free. That said, from my point of view, as someone who watches fan films, most of the time in TOS films, they are the most non-character, non-people, and therefore, at least with TOS characters, you have a bit of backstory that you can go into a story knowing how they are as people. But I will say that in Republic, I mean, especially your captain, Jim, he's got something about him. It's all about the casting, it's all about the acting. If you can get people who can play a character actually feels like a character, and even if it's just a really good Starfleet officer character, then you've gone beyond just they're people on a set, which I think your vignette has the potential to be. With obviously, I know a lot of backstory about why and how it was shot, and so given the time and the money to do it properly, I mean, these guys can do a lot better for the same scene, ironically.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things we did, guys, one of the things that who are we? So my writing partner that I talked about, Don Horan, he and I put together this treatment. And we took some time before the treatment to actually put together sort of the old-fashioned writer's guide. So here are our characters. Here's our ship. What's the backstory of the ship? So we did have a backstory, which was it had, gone through a refit, if you will, or repair, because it is an older ship. So we wanted to make it a little more modern. But these are our characters. What's up with the captain? Okay, what's his backstory? What's up with the first officer? What's up with the science officer?
Well, let me interrupt you there. Just throw you a ship question, because you said you've thought about it. So is this is this a refit Republic in the same vein as the Defiant with aft firing torpedoes and phasers, or is this still an older version? Which one is it, Ray?
Well, you know what? It's a modern, older version. And what I really tried to do, Sam, throughout. And really, I drew upon the original series. When I say that, I mean the concept of what they did, okay? They were just a TV show. That's all they were. And they were a TV show.
That's it, I'm out.
As Shatner most aptly put it in Saturday Night Live, it's just a TV show.
Yeah, it's a good TV show.
Or at least at the time it was. And they were trying to make good television and good drama, and that's what we tried to do, and that's what I tried to bring to the screen, if you will. But they developed character development and things about the ship as the episodes went on. So why give it all away, or why put yourself in a corner at the outset when you can draw on it or you can make a modification? I think the best example is in Space Seed, okay? When Kirk is fighting Khan in the engineering section, and all of a sudden there's those big white pipes. Where'd those come from? And where'd they go when when it was done? What happened? They beam them in, beam them out? What's the deal? So don't want to give everything away, but you know what? It's not the most powerful ship in the fleet. It's certainly not the most modern ship in the fleet. But it's a good, sturdy ship, and it gets the job done, and it's got its complement of photon torpedoes, and it's got its phasers, and, we have a captain at the helm that, if I were going to give anything away in this, that our captain is more of a Picard than he is a Kirk. I don't see Jim Von Doldrin running and jumping and tearing his shirt off, but I see him solving.
But do you think he would, though, if you asked him to?
Yes, I think he would take every opportunity.
But Ray, I need the answer. Okay, maybe not aft torpedoes. Does it at least have aft phasers? Does it have aft phasers?
Sam, they have aft phasers.
Okay. This might be important, though, to be fair.
But I got to go back to something he said just a minute ago. Like, it's not the newest ship in the fleet. It's not the most advanced ship in the fleet or the most powerful. But that brings me to something that I really enjoy, which is ships. Obviously, this is Trekyards. There's another ship in this vignette that is very important to me, and it's because it's a Daedalus class. It's very near and dear to my heart. It was the original ships that went out for the Federation, involved in the Romulan War, but that's just my canon, I guess. So tell me a little bit about using a Daedalus class. And it says in your Indiegogo that it's a refitted Daedalus class. So just tell us a little about that ship, I think.
Well, Daedalus class is an older model of starships.
Mm-hmm.
And as you mentioned, were used in the Romulan War. So they are 50 years old, okay, or whatever it is.
Yeah, close to sort of 70, 80, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. But when you think about it, if you look at, for example, today's the Navy, okay, battleships are 50, 60, 70 years old before they're decommissioned. So I'm sure there are many of the Daedalus class ships that have been decommissioned and are in some space museum somewhere, but some of them probably did get refit and are still fit for active duty. They obviously aren't fit necessarily for the type of space exploration that a Constitution class ship is for, but why not use it as a survey vessel or a medical vessel or whatever it happens to be, because they're still, look, if it's still in service, it's got to be a sturdy, reliable ship.
And in this instance, it's a science vessel.
Well, actually, in this instance, it's a survey vessel.
Survey vessel.
So you can call it science, but it's really a ship of exploration. It's going and looking at new planets, and it's trying to, do like mining and cataloging and things like that.
And what's the name of the ship? Just so we know.
Yeah.
I was going to say no.
No.
Columbia.
Yeah. Columbia. Okay.
Columbia.
Perfect. Cool.
That sort of answer though. I mean, a lot of fan films, they have a story, and there's nothing beyond the walls of the story. A lot of the time because of time constraints and just they want to tell that one thing. But Ray just corrected you because he's thought that much into the purpose of a ship that we see in the vignette is not well fated, not to give anything too much away. So I appreciate that extra thought. I know for my fan film I really thought everything through, and for Trekyards clearly we think things through, so I certainly appreciate that. Should be a good indication to all you guys to support this Indiegogo, because he's thought it through. I know his team has as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys. Thanks, Sam.
And like I said, they've done a fantastic job on this vignette, so check it out for sure and watch it. But you just mentioned the guidelines, Samuel. I have to ask, how are the guidelines affect this this production? Like the 15-minute run time, do you have the script worked out and everything?
Well, I mean, there's a secondary question to that. I mean, you said this was done. I mean, when was this written compared to when the guidelines came out? Like, how long was it written after? Was it written before? And was it finished before? I mean, where was your timeline, and then where are you at now?
So as the story goes, the episode was completed well before the guidelines came out. There wasn't even a hint that guidelines were coming out. And just like Star Trek should have been, it was a 60-minute teleplay. And we were casting, we had the studio set, we were putting dates together when we were going to film the vignette, but we had a full 60-minute or, 47-minute script written. And then the guidelines came out. And first thing I did was throw a hissy fit. I was blaming everybody under the sun, and please don't take this the wrong way, but I was cursing Axanar left and right. But cooler heads prevailed, okay?
As we do here at Trekyards, it's very important to...
Yes, cooler heads prevailed.
Yeah.
I realized a couple of things. Number one, if CBS hadn't come down on Axanar, they would have come down on somebody somewhere, somehow. So Axanar just happened to be the poster child, in my opinion. There's a lot of things you can say, positive, negative, but they were the poster child. And I read through the guidelines. I listened to John Van Sitter's on Engage, the podcast, and I listened to what he had to say. And when I read through it, I felt that I got kind of lucky, if you will. And why did I get lucky? I got lucky because the hour version actually took a right turn after Act 2 and became almost a whole different episode in Acts 3 and 4. So it was easy to break it in half. I'm going to keep going on this, but it was easy to break it in half and say, okay, let's take the teaser in Acts 1 and 2 and make it a half hour, and take Acts 3 and 4 and make it a half an hour. Okay? And look, the guidelines, people, God love fans, God love people, I'll tell you the truth. But, you put something out there and you say, hey, we got a teaser for a fan film. And you'll get people writing, it's a pity you can't do fan films anymore. What are you talking about? Okay? So the guidelines aren't too bad. At least there are guidelines. And number one, they're not rules. They're guidelines. Okay? Yeah. And I know you guys have some questions, I'm sure, about the Indiegogo in relation to that coming up. But they're guidelines. And look, for 15 minutes, you could raise $50,000. They're giving you a $50,000 budget for 15 minutes.
Which is more than most fan films have raised ever, bar the big
That's
four.
Correct. Okay? And they're allowing you to do 2 15-minute segments. So you're not limited to 15 minutes, but now you have 30. Okay? And the other guidelines are very fair, I think, very fair. And as I've written in blogs and I've said vocally, look, if 30 minutes work for the Twilight Zone, why can't it work for me?
Yeah.
Okay?
And I kind of see the guidelines as a mixed bag of good and bad, but I think the time restraints that they put on the episodes is actually a good thing, because it gets rid of any extraneous crap that's in there. Because I've watched a lot of fan films that are just trying to fill time, and they do it really poorly in a lot of instances. And you just want to get past that point, get to the action, and this will move the pace up of these fan films and make them more engaging, I think. So.
And I will say, from my point of view, the guidelines are to guide you. They're not rules. None of them are rules. And John Vasilidis makes it very clear in his interview. It's a case of fan films existed for so many years because the people who made them, with limited technology, had to have a certain personal funding to fund them, a certain passion. But you can only do so much. As long as things nowadays stay within the spirit of what fan films are meant to be, then that's what the guidelines are saying. This is what we would ideally like to stay in, but as long as you stay within the spirit of fan films and not go for hiring 80 people crew, what I mean, for a single shoot. I mean, there's things that their guidelines. I mean, I there's a lot of flexibility there as long as it's clear that you're doing it by fans for fans in a way that has always been okay. So I'm not worried about a lot of those guidelines, just because I think they really are just there to show people do it in this certain way, but they're not rules fundamentally.
Are they there to guide people? Maybe. I think so.
Maybe.
Anyway, speaking of behind the scenes, now I know like I said, I watched the vignette, I watched all the stuff on your Indiegogo page, which includes a special effects thing, and there's some really fantastic special effects and space scenes and some great ship shots. The ship porn that we all love. I like ship porn. Now, who did that for you? Because it's just
fantastic work.
You know what? We put it out for bids, and we have about 30 people working on the special effects.
Looks like
Mr.
it.
Mr. Cockings is, and I do call him Mr. Cockings because in this case, I have much more respect for him than I do in an everyday life. Mr. Cockings is a master at visual effects. He is a master. Now, why is he a master?
Samuel's dad's a master of visual effects.
Yeah, I was about to say, is this junior or senior? Because they're both physical.
Well, you were looking around, so I'm thinking, it must be your dad's.
Why? I'm going to say this as publicly as I possibly can. First of all, if you look at the special effects, or the visual effects, if you look at that, and he did a little bit more than just the space exteriors. He did the transporter sequence and some other sequences as well. But forgetting the fact that they look like they belong in a Trek episode, okay? It's not a cartoon. I didn't want a cartoon. I didn't want something that looked two-dimensional, okay? The stuff is, without a doubt, three-dimensional. There's action, and I'm going to take that one step further in a second. But Sam really felt passionate about this project. in a very small clip, maybe like 5 or 6 seconds, okay? Your eyes go someplace when you watch the clip, okay? Your eyes go someplace. So you're not watching a full screen. You're watching whatever. And there is a scene where the Columbia gets hit for, I believe it's the second time, okay? And if you guys at home will watch our vignette and you look at that scene, play that scene about 8 times, okay? Because what you're going to see when you watch it the first time is the Columbia get hit and it's going to list, okay? What you don't see is the Enterprise firing at phasers at the bottom of the screen. What you don't see...
Not the Enterprise. Not the Enterprise.
I'm sorry, the Republic. That's how passionate I am about Star Trek. What you don't see is the power go out on the Columbia. What you don't see are the power in the nacelles go dead. What you don't see are the lights in the windows go out. You don't see any of that, and you don't see the beam coming up from the planet. So you got to watch it like 8 times and say, hey, look at that. Hey, look at that. Hey, look at that. Hey, look at that. And you know what? Then when you watch it, you're going, holy crap. Look at what's going on in this 6-second clip.
It's
By the way, I really like the clip, in case you can't tell.
It is a time code 4 minutes 22. Yeah, that was a fun one. I mean, I will. What?
Oh, Samuel, we're stroking your ego, and you're just loving it. You're just like purring away.
It's funny. Don't say anything. No, I will say that what's interesting about this project is that, unlike I've done the odd clip for the odd person, obviously Trekyards, but that's sort of all my do what needs to be done sort of thing. You guys had a clear vision for the story, and you had a talented chap doing editing, who co-directed, called Gabriel Morgan, and he actually had storyboarded everything, which I've never had anybody give me storyboards before because they never think about it. And hey, that's fine. I mean, it means I can do my own thing.
Excuse me, I gave you storyboards for some intros.
Oh, well, we took did we? I thought we just talked about it. Don't remember.
No, I drew storyboards in my little art book. I have it upstairs.
I don't think Stuart would lie. That's just my impression.
Oh,
that's why you said that. Anyway, so Gabriel, he storyboarded everything I was talking to you, Ray, and that was really interesting to be able to actually, I didn't have to visualize everything because it was so easily visualizable. Although some things didn't necessarily work in the 3 dimensions, so we worked as a team to tweak things and make them a bit more visceral. Because again, a single picture saying this is 3 seconds doesn't translate exactly to the feel of it. So we worked together. I think we worked as a really great team actually, and he knew exactly what he wanted. Build these scenes, and then like the shot we're talking about, it's particularly it's got depth of field, it's got 2 beams, it's got explosions, and they're also timed explosions moving across the hull. Everything turns off at different times in different ways. And it's one of those things where it's a complicated shot, and it really was a complicated shot, but you do everything that should happen, and if you do everything that should happen, including interactive lighting, where the beam's hitting just inside that zone, it's being brightly lit. Everything your brain sees that you don't see, but your brain sees, so you think it's a good-looking shot, just instinctively. Not necessarily sure why, but it's all there, and I really hope to do a lot of CG that we can. I think. Ray, I pitched you all the CG in my style and stuff after you saw, my few bits in His Name is Mud, and I said, I like doing Trek 1.5. Tobias Richter, still top of his game. Does Trek 2.0. It looks better than Trek, it feels better than Trek, and the movements are so smooth. But he always takes it to the extreme, almost like the way he does the angles. Whereas Star Trek was very 2D, because they weren't really allowed to do much else, and obviously in the older stuff they literally couldn't. But I like doing Trek 1.5, which has got more modern tech, we've got more modern camera techniques, and honestly, we all see film in a certain way. So if you can make a really good-looking shot that feels dynamic and still feels Trek, it's not too far, but it's lit like Trek, but it's a bit more dynamic, then suddenly you have Trek 1.5. It's like modern Trek, but it feels like old Trek. And you get some really wonderful cinematic stuff from that.
I will tell you, very quickly, I'll tell you my favorite visual effect. And it's not the one we were just talking about. That is
time code 422.
The time code 422. It's not that one. There's a scene where our captain, Terrence St. James, orders the Republic to fire back on whatever's down on the planet's surface. And there's a close-up of the Republic firing the blue phasers. And I look at that and I go, Star Trek. I could look at everything else, but I look at that and I just say Star Trek.
thanks. That's my aim.
That's okay. My pleasure.
Thank you, Samuel. You put a lot of hard work into
Yeah.
this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, I believe in the project, and that should say something to you guys. Obviously, Trekyards keeps me busy, but you know, if I can squirrel away enough little time here and there, I can get it made. But it's also clever, you know, a lot of good time management.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, Stuart, from your point of view, then obviously me and Ray, we've been talking about this for a while now. What did you think of the VFX in terms of how do they? Obviously, you see Trekyards stuff, and you know exactly what I can do. But seeing it in 1080p in a story format, I know you've seen Temporal Anomaly, but you've seen the old stuff. What do you think about it in this context? Do you think?
I'm amazed that it's you that's doing it, because it looks like professional quality. I didn't mean it quite like that.
Backhanded compliment there. I love you.
Well,
It's you?
Yeah.
What?
Well, here's the beauty of the vignette, okay? Because this was originally, again, mine and Don's vision, but visually, I'd have to say it was really mine, okay? And Sam just mentioned somebody, Gabriel Morgan, who I had never met until we met on set, but we had several conversations. And I got him to see the vision that I had. And the vision was I wanted three things. One, I wanted drama. I didn't want Star Trek. Everybody tries to do Star Trek, okay? I wanted drama first. I wanted it to be set in the Star Trek timeline, okay, or the TOS timeline. And at the time that I was doing a 47-minute script, I didn't want 45 minutes of special effects. I wanted the special effects to enhance the story. Sorry, Sam, I know that's money out of your pocket.
And that's what special effects are for, is to enhance.
Well, it is, but not everybody does that. I mean, don't get me wrong, but if you look at, you know, like the Tommy Kraft episode, which is visually beautiful. Visually, it's beautiful. But, I mean, almost every scene has some visual effect in it.
Well, literally every scene, it's all green screen, yeah.
It's all green screen. What Sam managed to accomplish was look at the drama of the situation. Okay, and I want to talk about Gabriel at some point as well, but he took the drama of the situation as it was filmed, because we didn't know what the visual effects were going to look like. And as outstanding as Sam did, he retrofitted what you see into the story. Because the story was already filmed. It wasn't like we had this thing on the screen and we could see what was going on. And he managed to take what we did and totally enhance the look and the feel and make you feel like, the one thing I said to the actors when we met on the set, okay, I don't need you guys reciting lines. What I need you to do is believe what's going on. So if in the story it says the ship is about to get hit by a photon torpedo, I need you to stop, I need you to take a dump, and I need you to react. Okay? That's what I told them. And they did a great job, but then we took what we had in the can, because we had no studio to go back to at that point, because the studio was being disassembled and moving. So we had to go with what we had. And Sam took it, and he made it really Star Trek.
And I will say that there's more great stuff to come, because that just, I'm not going to say icing of the, you know, not the tip of the iceberg, but there's a lot of great stuff we can do in this film, and we've talked about it, and there's more better stuff, and also the teasers. But I want to talk about Gabe for a minute, and then we can hit on the teaser before we close out, because Gabe needs a lot of credit for this. I mean, there's three big elements to any film. It's the script, four, script, actors, how you film it, and any special effects you need. And the fact is, they all came together. And maybe the acting wasn't as strong, because we're not going to be, you know, dishonest here. The acting might not be as strong, but they're not professional actors. But it does service this proof of concept. It really does, and it shows the team, and you get a real sense of, and it proves you can do it. And that's the biggest thing. A lot of these fan films, especially they're asking for money, and especially in the olden days, didn't do anything first. Well, you went ahead and made it self-funded, which is, very impressive. All power to you. And Gabe is such a huge important of that, because he's really very good at what he does. But I'll let you shower him with praise, Gabe. Ray. Your name's Ray. 2 times saying names here.
So Gabe, as I said, I hadn't met Gabe until we were on set, but we had several phone calls, and he knew what I was looking for. I had seen some snippets of some things he had filmed of Trek and some other things. He's a commercial photographer, if you will, or videographer. He does, he's got something called Morgan Park Studios. So I'd seen some of his stuff, and I liked his work. And I got him through Jim Van Doltren, who plays the captain, who I got through Vance Major, who knew Jim, and Jim has been in other productions, other Star Trek fan films. And we got on set, and there's a whole backstory, which I won't tell at this moment, about actors, and half of my actors didn't show up. One of them actually had a family tragedy, who was actually one of my principal characters, who wanted to do it and was even going to come in. And I said, don't, you got to be with your family. So when you talk about the acting, half of the people on set didn't know they were going to be in it 2 hours before we sat on set. Okay.
Wow.
So nobody knows that. Fans don't need to know that. But if you know that and you look at it, you say, wow, what a great job. Anyway, so Gabe came in, and I figured, hey, look, we got 6 pages of dialogue. We got all of Sunday. We're going to be done in no time. Okay. That's because I have a very limited mentality. Okay. And Gabe came in with multiple lenses and a single camera. And he shot the same scene over and over and over from different angles, using different zooms, using depth of field. If you look at the vignette, and please, guys, look at the vignette, you would swear it was a multi-camera shoot. You would swear. I swear. And I was standing there. Okay. And he was, during the shoot, he was standing to my left, and he was on camera. I had a gentleman by the name of Ken Edwards, who's also known by the name Words. Okay. He was standing to my right on audio. And I was standing in between them at the monitor, because I had signed on, if you will. I created it, and this was my first venture of any kind like this. And I said, I'm going to direct it. I had a director. He fell out. No time to get somebody else. But Gabe became my co-director almost immediately, because he and I had, again, the same vision. And he could talk to the actors the same way I could talk to the actors. And we all developed this rapport on set, this friendship, which we still have today. Okay. And, Sam came late to the party, if you will, because we did have a special effects person, but it wasn't working out. And Jim either knew Sam or knew of Sam and made the introduction, and Sam came on. And in all honesty, Sam has become one of the biggest members of our Republic family as anyone else. But we all talk. We have a little private chat site on Facebook, where we share information. We say what's going on in our lives. It's really great stuff. And I think that camaraderie somehow translated to the screen in terms of the acting.
All right, so we know you have an Indiegogo set up for this, so let's tell us a little about that. What kind of perks can people expect, and that kind of thing? What's going on with the Indiegogo? The link's in the description. Please check it out, guys.
And explain the fact that the guidelines say no perks, but you got perks. Yep. And I will say I helped design these perks, but I'll let
the guidelines don't say no perks. The guideline says I've just been through this with several people. The guidelines say if you do have perks, the suggestion is that they are CBS licensed products if they are being offered as a perk for your crowdfunding campaign. Ours are not. I state that right out of the fact, right from the get-go. Most of them are digital type downloads, PDFs, PDF of the teaser, digital download of the teaser, the writer's guide, number of things like that. We're offering a couple of things that I think are really special. One is customize your own ship. So you want to make the USS Ray Tesi or the USS Stuart Foley, and you want to give it whatever registry number you want to give it, you get, a high-res digital image of a ship the way you see it.
And that's for $50, that perk.
For $50. For $100, I think, or somewhere right around there, you could actually have your ship do a 10-second flyby. And if you see the visual effects that we have on the Indiegogo page and in the vignette, I mean, I'm going to get one of those. So, I'm signing up for that. Yeah. But we do have some physical perks. And the physical perks are, we have really what amounts to different posters. And those posters reflect Republic. So it's got a picture of the Republic in one. It's got a picture of the Republic and the Columbia in another. It's got an NX ship in one, firing torpedoes. So it's CBS IP. It's their intellectual property. But I looked at it as, okay, we're a little guy, okay? I'm not saying that would be under the radar, okay? But we're not looking for $50,000, $100,000, $200,000. We're looking for $16,000, which is a real number. It's a real number. And I launched the Indiegogo whenever this comes out, probably 2 weeks before this is going to air. And a lot of the people that I counted on said, oh, you're in violation of the guidelines. You're using CBS's property. They're going to come down on you. And I'm not going to be a part of that because, we can't have it, blah, 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 blah. This was on the Tuesday after I launched on the Monday. So nobody was sharing my Indiegogo page. Nobody was sharing the vignette. Nobody was doing anything. And I'm sitting here going, what am I going to do? And I was really lost. So I wrote these guys and I said, look, they were like, you got to take your perks down or you got to change them. Well, the horse is out of the barn. I can't change them now, right? So I wrote an email to these guys, or, I messaged them and I said, look, the guidelines are guidelines, they're not rules. I don't think we're going to get in trouble by CBS. I'm just going to leave them. Just help me out. And they were all not doing it, not sharing it. Got to take it down. Basically, it's your ass. It's not going to be ours. Okay? So then I said, well, what am I going to do? And I said, you know what? I'm going to write John Van Citters. Because if I'm going to crash and burn, I might as well do it after 2 days and not 2 weeks or 4 weeks or when I'm going to production. I might as well ask him what he thinks. Okay? So I did my due diligence. I found an email address that looked like it would be right. I didn't know if it would even get there. I wrote an email, didn't even know if he was going to read it. And if he read it, I had no idea if he was going to answer it. So I sent it out probably about midday or 1 o'clock on Tuesday. Lo and behold, in about 2.5 or 3 hours, I got an email back from John Van Citters.
Wow. And
he said, I don't see any issues with your campaign. Good luck.
Nice.
So I took that and I shoved it up everybody's butt. And everybody's like, oh, dude, that's great. You broke the ice with CBS. We know we're not going to get... I said, do me a favor. Just share my link, will you? Just share my link. I don't really care about that.
Well, the fact is, this is the very first campaign since the guidelines to actually try and raise a real amount of money and a well-thought-out campaign. Obviously, I've read this email from John, and in all fairness, CBS isn't approving the film. It's just saying the Indiegogo in its current form is within the spirit of the guidelines. And, I was part of the person who helped design the perks, and it's all digital. There's no buy a costume. There's no anything that would imply huge. Everything is there to share and just help the production in a very simple, easy way, but still have some value for your buck. But really, you're just trying to help the production. So CBS can still say, hey, don't do the film, but the Indiegogo is we're not going to interfere, which is great news, and it means you guys can donate, and this is as far as we're going to go. Because the fact is, you could have asked for 100,000 for this 30 minutes. You wanted 16 because that's how much you need to make the production. So that's just over 1/10 of what you could have asked, but that's not the point of the film. It's what you need to make this story.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I appreciate you saying all that because I don't want that to go by the wayside.
Yeah.
The other thing I would like to tell anyone who would like to come, I mean, we really could use everybody's help because we really want to make this. We really want to make something good. And I wanted to do something a little special. Okay. So I wanted to help kids. Okay. And 10% of every contribution that comes into Republic is going to go to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And I went back and forth with them for a long time. They really needed, proof of concept, and they're no slouches. They really do help kids. Long term, we'd like to maybe even bring some, bring some kids to the set with their parents, let them be behind the camera, let them be in front of the camera. But I never had the opportunity to do something like that, to help kids. And I feel very strongly about it because of some personal background in my life, but I finally have a chance to do that. So for all you people who are even thinking about coming and checking us out and maybe thinking about contributing, your dollars are going to go to a good place.
Yeah, and I will say, I signed on because it's got a good story, so I was unbiased. But for what we do at Trekyards, I think we've got a decent appreciation of what good Trek is, and if this can get made, it's going to be a good Trek story. And obviously, I have a big part in making sure it looks as good as it can, and I'll vouch for Gabriel as well. It's worth giving, honestly.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Well, there's one more thing we want to touch on real quick. Please go visit the Indiegogo link, obviously. Check out the vignette and all the links that we have in the description below. But one of those links was just released, actually, and it was also done by Samuel. It's a little bit of a teaser trailer.
Teaser
yeah, I got to say, it's pretty fantastic. I just saw it for the first time.
As did Ray, right before this.
Oh, no, I've been watching this. No, I'm
Well, there you go, then. But, Samuel, tell us a little about that, making that, perhaps.
Well, why don't we let Ray pitch the idea for the teaser and go to the background, because obviously it's his film.
So the vignette is a mystery, okay? If you go and watch the vignette, so nothing given away, and it's 9 minutes, okay? The Columbia calls for backup in the form of the Republic to investigate something they found on a planet's surface, okay? And that happens to be a down sphere, okay? And they take readings, okay? And I guess this is the part where the without saying it, the cat is out of the bag. But what we're going to do, what we're doing, is we're drawing on and bringing into it elements of the Star Trek Enterprise era. The NX ships. We also will draw on the future as well. TNG and Voyager, but we are drawing on the past. And what Sam really took charge of was trying to make a teaser that would bring those elements within the within the story framework of Republic, okay? And not give anything away unless you're really quick with your eye, but he really brought something very dramatic to tie in the Enterprise era to the TOS era, and that is the trailer that he created. And I look at it and I can't believe that my name is anywhere associated with that.
Yeah, it is fantastic. Absolutely.
Do we want to show it?
Well, it'll be
out,
available to watch. Yeah, this was a lot of fun to make, and I pitched it as, I call this the backstory trailer or teaser, because it does show we talked about this quite heavily. There's a surface level of film, but why does this do this? Why is this there? Well, we really made that something tangible and real, and through that we linked into other bits that you hadn't necessarily thought of, Ray, which is great that we'd work as part of that process. And now, because we know exactly the backstory behind everything in part of this film, like we really thought it through, we can show these things, and even if this isn't going to be fully represented in the film, like as the this is this because of this, there is that backstory that if you then read it somewhere else, or we talk about it in an interview, it'll all make more sense. You know, there's extra stuff there, and this was a great way of showing. Well, actually, this is probably the first fan film to do a Enterprise TOS crossover. It's not a crossover in the sense that you're going to be on an NX class, you know, walk around necessarily, but the thematic ties. I love the greater Star Trek canon, as I think we all do, and this story uses the greater Star Trek canon, and so this teaser is meant to tease you because it's a TOS fan film. Why the hell are we seeing an NX class doing something kind of cool? Why? I mean, why? And it's meant to make you want to give, because there's some great stuff coming in, and I'm pretty proud of this. I think I like the planet really, really sexily. I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah, it's very well done, guys. So definitely check it out.
And more teasers to come. Check out Republic and join their Facebook, because there's some really good, each being different. The point is, this production has a lot of the different facets, and check out the Starship Republic Facebook page and Trekyards. Hopefully we'll be able to share this stuff as well, and you'll see it and hopefully really enjoy it.
Yeah, please come visit us, guys. We really put a lot of heart and soul into this. We really have some real surprises for you.
Yep.
We really want to make this 30-minute episode, and if you guys could help us out, we would really appreciate it.
And with that being,
as did these guys right here.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us, Ray. With that all being said, please check out anything Starship Republic you find on YouTube, or click any of the links down below to check it out. Go to the Indiegogo and help them out, and help out the Make-A-Wish Foundation as well in that process, which is definitely a good cause. So anyway, guys, thank you, Ray, for joining us again. It was great to meet you and hear your story.
Thank you, Stuart. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Sam, for not only this, but your efforts to bring this thing to the screen.
Right. And we're looking forward to seeing a lot more from you, Ray. So anyway, guys, until next time, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Commander Cockings.
I'm Ray Tesi.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.